Menstruation here, although you might know me by one of my nicknames such as your period, that time of the month, Aunt Flo, who's she? Me. The curse. Although that one hurts a little bit. Your monthly gift, and also that reason why all of your white pants are ruined. Sorry about that. The 28-day menstrual cycle rule is not a rule at all. It is simply an average. The length of a woman's menstrual cycle can vary due to a number of factors, including diet, exercise, and stress levels. Ever hear the one about how you can't get pregnant if you have sex when I'm in the bedroom? False. Your period and ovulation can overlap. Sperm can survive in the reproductive tract for up to 5 days. That sperm and that egg, oh, they can meet all right. And then guess what? Oopsie baby. Have you and your best friend ever flipped out over the fact that you've synced up periods? The so-called McClintock effect, which is the name given to this idea of menstrual synchronicity, was in fact debunked by a 2006 study which tracked Chinese students in a dorm for a year. While some students did randomly sync up periods from time to time, there was no statistically significant pattern. If you and your BFF start having your periods at the same time, well, that's just friendship magic, which is a lot stronger than science. If a lady takes me to the beach, she is not, and I repeat, not, at greater risk of being attacked by a shark. According to Florida State University ichthyologist, that's a fancy word for a shark doctor, George H. Burris, the only way to scientifically prove this is to put menstruating and non-menstruating women in a tank with a bunch of sharks and see who they attack. And they're probably not ever gonna get any volunteers for that study. Speaking of safety, I am no longer a valid excuse for not going camping or hiking due to fear of bear attacks. A recent study out of the National Park Service debunked the myth that women on their periods attract bears. This idea started in the late 1960s after a couple of women were attacked by grizzly bears in Glacier National Park, and some people thought, maybe those ladies were on their period. But it turns out there is no scientific validity to that whatsoever. Ooh! Even though we call it the moon cycle, your period has nothing to do with the phases of the moon. This myth has been around since the 18th century. But check it, folks. The lunar phase is precisely 29.5 days long, which does not account for all of that variation from woman to woman in the length of our menstrual cycles. Using tampons does not mean you lose your virginity or break your hymen. The hymen is something that cannot actually be broken. It's a ring of tissue called the vaginal corona, which already has an opening in it that allows menstrual fluids to exit your body. Due to the presence of, well, blood, some people think that women and girls on their period should rest up and avoid exercise when I come around. You only lose about 4 tablespoons of blood and tissue during your period, and exercise is good for you. A more recent study out of the University of Birmingham debunked the idea that exercise can cure all of the discomforting symptoms that come along with periods. It's still perfectly fine to exercise when I come around for a week. And one final myth that needs debunking, and that is that periods make women go crazy. Even though roughly 75% of women report some kind of premenstrual symptom such as bloating, fatigue, breast tenderness, acne, or moodiness, a more recent study out of the University of Toronto analyzed 41 different studies looking at menstruation and mood and found no relationship between getting your period and being crazy irrational as we often stereotype women on their periods to be. Now I'm gonna go, but don't worry. I'll be back in like 25 days of myth busting. That didn't have the desired effect. That person has 12 babies now. For them to make a baby! Ah! Make room for a baby, da 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 da. You ever hear the one, it's not true. Sha da 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 da. Oh! Oh! Anthropomorphic period. Who says a period can't talk? Who says a period can't walk? Here I am, I'm your period friend. Doing a little myth busting, here's the end.